Here we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Frost, spawning in the northwest position, as the red Zerg player currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 at the numericable House Cup. It is Startails Curious. Very, very good Zerg player. Went with, I feel like I could almost say just non-stop aggression on that last map up against this young man in the southeast from Team Millennium. One of the most recent pickups by Millennium. It wasn't that recent, but he's one of the newest players on the roster. It is BabyKnight. So if you guys missed the first game between these two very high-level players, BabyKnight opted for the gateway expand and just ran into some trouble keeping his setup together once Curious started to bring the heat. He went for like a 14-14. It was one of those very fast speedling type rushes that are, I mean, kind of designed to kill gateway-based openings. It's one of the reasons why gateway opening was hard to do in Wings of Liberty, that sort of thing. You didn't have anything like the Mothership Core to help you. And BabyKnight will still open gateway. This time with that gas pretty quickly. The last game it was gateway into Nexus, so it was very, very greedy play from BabyKnight. But Curious is opening hatch first. And I think if Curious anticipates that there will be a gateway expand once again, probably go double hatch before pool. He's checking for anything like a potential cannon rush. But some things that Zerg players are wont to do is that very, very fast third base versus the gateway expand, especially on this map. But BabyKnight, he is doing that gateway expand. The drone moves out, and I would like to see him take the third base. There's the drone. It's headed there. So he kept the drone there just long enough that he feels safe that it's not a cannon rush. So he starts the hatchery. He's feeling comfortable, and I can't really blame him. PvZ is so often about who can get momentum going in the early game. It can be very, very difficult if you take even just a little bit of a loss from a cannon rush. If you have to pull drones to defend, it can mess up your mindset for the rest of the map. BabyKnight does have access to both assimilators, so this will be an expansion into potentially faster tech. The 7X core has completed. Mothership core is coming out first. And with that, shouldn't have too much trouble defending, but there's not much to defend against. Gas is complete. Curious will be able to start his speed reasonably fast after this spawning pool is done. And this is just a solid opener. He'll have access to lots of larvae, which means producing drones very quickly. And BabyKnight, I mean, one of the biggest advantages of gateway expand versus a forge fast expand, for example, is that you have this warp gate done so much faster. I think some of the fastest you can get it is like 6-7 minutes, usually 6:30, depending on just how much you want it. Certain builds, like on the last map, obviously you get it much later by delaying gas, but speed is coming in for Curious. He knows where his opponent is. He's kind of scouted out everything. He wants to make sure he's not tucking himself in very tightly in the northeast. But I'm mostly wondering what BabyKnight does this game if he doesn't get speedling rushed. It feels really weird to say this, but we didn't actually see what his main normal strategy was. And it looks like this game it is a Stargate. So this is cool. Stargate play is really, really popular in the current meta. It's pretty much always been popular, but he sees the creep from the third, and he sees just a few Zerglings. So I think if he sees the creep at the third base this early on, he kind of knows, oh, okay, went double hatch before pool. Bit difficult, especially since BabyKnight will lose this probe, or at the very least, if the probe does somehow survive, he will not be able to build a proxy pylon to do any type of gateway-based pressure. Now, some players, when they open up Stargate versus Zerg, there's the old school and the new school. And old school is fortify Phoenix, kill overlords, harass drones if possible. New school is an Oracle, and then just going ham for worker kills. And I actually started the Phoenix and canceled it. Now the Oracle is in production, so we'll have to see how Curious deals with that. Those Zerglings most certainly saw the Stargate. He knows. He has to know. It's really weird that it looks unpowered. But the Oracle's about to finish up. There's still no Spore Crawler. And guys, I'll have you know, if you haven't seen Oracles before, not only are they very good at killing workers, but I recall I believe it was an Oz game, or really any game where there's a very aggressive Protoss that opens with Oracle. You can kill about 10 drones before one queen can actually kill the Oracle and still get away. So now the Spore Crawlers have begun. The lair has started as well for Curious. No Roach Horn or anything like that, so you might see Hydralisks a bit faster than usual. But he's just focusing down these drones. Doesn't need to be careful now that the Spore Crawler's done. That saves him a little bit. He's only able to get 4 drone kills. Sentries actually get caught outside the natural. One of them is picked off. Very nice grab for Curious. The Zerglings just try to run to the main base. Force fields, and he misses. That Zergling will be able to slip inside. And he's just going to try to poke maybe a little bit at these probes. He gets a full scout basically for free. He doesn't need to sacrifice an Overlord, Overseer, what have you. And he knows exactly what is going on in the base of BabyKnight. BabyKnight still has this Oracle on the field, but making any use of it will be quite difficult considering the Spore at each base. So once this lair completes, where does he go? Without a Roach Horn, I'm inclined to lean towards Zergling Hydralisk. But that's just the thing. Curious can really mix it up. I think Curious, I've seen him play versus so many different types of strategies in both matchups. And it was really funny. One of the things that Apollo and I talked about a lot in regards to Curious at IM New York was that he's so good with his tech switches. He's so good with making just keeping you unaware of where he's headed with this. So he scouted that Stargate opener, but he's moving into Spire, a very fast Spire, I would say, for a Zerg versus Protoss. BabyKnight shouldn't have any trouble scouting this if he's active and trying to use the Oracle to scout out at least the main base or with hallucinated Phoenixes. But let's see what he's doing back home. +1 attack is about to finish. The Twilight Council as well. So we could see a quick +2. Maybe Blink. No Robo, though. This Stargate just built this Oracle. No Phoenix. And interestingly enough, even if you have a Stargate with no Phoenix, Aspire can be pretty good versus that. One Stargate does not really produce fast enough to deal with Mutalisks. He's trying to grab probes moving in between the bases. Not able to get anything there. And BabyKnight, he's just kind of turtling up. We've seen gateways being added on. Pops a Guardian Shield. Whoops. No gas the third just yet. There it is. So he's still keeping his eyes on that tech. And +2 attack being chrono boosted. Blink is on the way. And now the Oracle moves into the main base. Should be able to spot this Spire. Goes for a drone kill. Oh, just barely missing it. It is done. And now the Oracle's dead. Not even a revelation. So he doesn't know about the Mutalisks that are about to come out. Thankfully for BabyKnight, his composition kind of naturally deals with this. A lot of Stalkers, Blink, heavy attack upgrades. It's actually kind of funny. Attack upgrades don't really help Stalkers versus Mutalisks that much. I think it's a one-shot difference when you're at +3 attack. But he's moving out. And all Curious really needs to do is defend. There's 3 spines on the way. There are some Zerglings on the map. He's trying to buy himself a little bit of time. But 14 Mutalisks coming out is going to be... I mean, that's just going to be a huge pain in the side for the Millennium Protoss player. He still doesn't know about the Mutas yet. The Hallucinated Phoenix was taken out by that Spore Crawler. So a few Zerglings traipse over here. And BabyKnight, like I said, he does not know. So the Mutas are just going to run into the natural. And his army will not be on the map. I mean, his army will not be home to defend. He could try to go for some sort of base trade or recall. And this Photon Cannon will die. Is he going to recall? What does he do? There's the recall. He comes right back into the natural. Be able to try to save his probes. So we have so far just 7 workers killed by Curious. This is not too bad. Wants to get the cannons. Does need to be careful. Blink is going to be done very soon. It's only 7 seconds away. The Mutalisks, they might actually get caught here. There's a lot of Stalkers just kind of waiting. There they go. We'll be able to grab at least a few of these Mutas, I think. 1, 2, 3. No, just 2 of these Mutas picked off. I think just 2. Yep. So not bad. At the same time, Zerglings just... Man, I got all caught up on those Mutalisks. The Zerglings just surrounded the Nexus and picked it up. That's what... Killing the Photon Cannon, he blinked all the Stalkers into his main base, so nothing there to defend. And a Fleet Beacon and an extra Stargate for BabyKnight now finishing up. So this is going to be difficult. Anion Pulse Crystals is going to be researched, but without that third base, double producing Phoenix is a bit expensive. Look at that, even contaminating the Fleet Beacon. So no ability to actually get that Phoenix range upgrade. It delays it by a whole 40 seconds, which is huge. So now BabyKnight kind of just has to sit here, turtle up, as Curious continues to take expansions in the northeast. And actually that 4th base as well. So Curious is just jumping straight to 5 bases. going to produce an absurd amount of Mutalisks. Wants to rebuild this third. The huge Zergling wave is here once again for Curious, just getting absolutely everything. His probes trying to mine between the bases being attacked. The Stalkers jump over to defend. What are the upgrades for Curious? Just actually only ranged upgrades. So Curious has been keeping his eyes open for a switch into Roach Hydra as these Stalkers continue to take some shots. I really like switching into Roach Hydra here, especially with how exposed this robotics facility is. If Curious was able to pick this off, that'd be amazing. It's really funny, but I feel like it's very rare that this situation occurs, that Zerg players will actually switch away from Mutalisks. It almost becomes just this thing where it either snowballs or it doesn't, and you lose. But he is 100% prepared with the way that he's been upgrading this game. +2 range attack is coming in, and he's ready to move into Roach Hydra. Now bringing another attack. Big wave of Zerglings with these Mutalisks. Anion Pulse Crystals is done, so those 7 Raged Phoenix are going to be quite a pain to deal with. And we have some hallucinated Stalkers. Don't see those too often. But what else? What else is coming up? 20 or so Hydralisks are about to pop for Curious, and this presents a huge amount of anti-air. Just look at what BabyKnight has. It's a good amount of Phoenix. He's actually got just enough that he's not overcommitted to this yet, but the Mutas still present a very real threat. As long as the Phoenix count stays in with these low numbers, he's just trying to make the Phoenix work via lots and lots of micro. But like I said, there's lots of Hydras in the field, and Hydralisks with the support of Mutas could be a huge pain to deal with. Templar Archives is on the way. This is never bad to get the Templar Archives. I'd like to see. Well, I feel like I want to say I want to see Charge, but personally, it just feels like there's so many Stalkers on the map. Getting any other type of composition is going to be really difficult without avoiding something like Colossus. But with this many Mutas on the field, that's a very difficult switch to make. So Curious is moving a huge amount of Hydralisks towards this third base. BabyKnight has to defend this. I don't think BabyKnight can afford to lose this third base one more time. The Hydras have pretty low hit points, but the Mutas and Zerglings are here to soak up a couple of the shots. The Phoenix as well. And that's exactly what the Hydras do. There's a bit of synergy in this unit composition, even though they're all kind of very low health units. The Stalkers just blink on top of absolutely everything. The Phoenix are here to try to stand and deliver. Zealots being warped in. This is so good for BabyKnight. The Zealots are so good versus these the Hydralisks. Now using the Phoenix to finish up everything else. So everything taken care of by the Millennium Protoss player. BabyKnight is doing everything that he can. Hydralisks being picked off in the open field. And now that Colossus transition, Extended Thermal Lance, Colossus, a little bit of Phoenix production was going for a second there. And you can still pick off Overlords. This is still not bad setup for BabyKnight. Grabs a few drones. So it's still just Roach Hydra for Curious. And the Hive is about to complete. So we're going to see Vipers come into play one more time. This is really nice, though, because BabyKnight already has the Templar Archive. As long as he doesn't lose too many units out here in the open field, does need to be careful. These sentries, very low on energy. And the Hydras, they do move faster than the sentries. So I think with the Zergling support, he should be able to catch these. Using the Phoenix to cover his tracks. Oh, no, this is going to be really difficult. Picks up one last Ling, but all the sentries are trying to escape. The Hydras are closing in. There is one Colossus out. Extended Thermal Lance isn't done yet. Another Stalker being warped in. And this is a rough spot to be in. I don't even think... yeah, he does have the Mothership Core. He can fourth and overcharge the Nexus. But the Hydras will just kill that straight up if BabyKnight doesn't engage him. Loses a gateway. And just trying to pick up these units. There's just one Colossus, and that is not having a very, very easy time to destroy this army. It's sniped. The Nexus is all that really stands here between the Roach Hydra army and these Stalkers. He re-photon overcharges the Nexus. And these Hydras are just going to kill absolutely everything. Curious is doubling his opponent's supply once again. The Greater Spire is on the way behind this. And BabyKnight is, well, he has not had a good start to this tournament, losing absolutely everything inside of his third base. It does appear that Curious will take a 2-0 victory here to win his first match at the Millennium Numerical Cup.